everyone, welcome to the Ginger Snap Series month of Horror-WEEN, where I'll be discussing the Elm Street franchise for you guys in a very blunt way. I'm your host, Steven Harrold, and in today's video I'm going to be giving you guys my review for A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, which was released in 1985. After the success of the very first Nightmare on Elm Street, New Line Cinema greenlit a sequel right away, coming out a year later, and to much fan service, a lot of people were ready for Freddy to come back. Now the thing is that this movie is a little bit different. This movie has a reputation to it, but does it hold up today? And is it one of those films that basically sets the bar for later sequels to come? Let's talk about that, shall we? So here's my review for Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge. So the story of this film, Jesse and his family move into the old Thompson house where Nancy used to live on Elm Street, and basically starts experiencing some horrible nightmares, to the point where Freddy is kind of trying to have him as an avatar so he can kill for him, since a lot of kids on Elm Street now don't even know who he is. And yeah, it sets the bar for what this movie ends up becoming. Now, for the story of this film, it was a nice little niche idea to do where, you know, you follow it up after the second film, and then eventually you end up coming around to the point where it's going to follow a new kid. It's not, Nancy's not in the picture anymore. And they decide that they want to make sure everyone is well known that this character is the main character. And of course, you got up the ante when it comes to this story too. So for me, I think the story kind of works to its favor, especially with this film. I do believe that when we get to the context of this film, it's one of those standalone type of films, because they never reference this film in the later sequels at all. And this is the second one. So they had to have done something wrong, right? So for the story, it's not bad. Our main protagonist in this film is Jesse, played by Mark Patton. He's the new kid on the block of Elm Street. He moves into the Nancy Thompson's old house, and he is the one that Freddy sets his sights on to basically kill for him. For his portrayal in this movie, he is basically the lead in this film. I mean, like, for a film like this where you have your lead, which was Nancy Thompson, and other horror movies where, you know, Halloween had, you know, Laurie Strode, but they had Dr. Loomis. This film, Jesse is obviously a teenager. Yeah, when it comes to this film, they put him in the finer girl role, where he's screaming like a girl. And to his record, or to his point, basically, he did say he was going to scream like how any boy would actually scream. And yeah, it's a high-pitched scream. A lot of his character is all about questioning and basically figuring out what's going on, and he does a fine job in this film. Now, he did have a good feature documentary himself, Scream Queen, where it's no secret, everybody, Mark Patton came out as gay. And this movie basically, I think, to an extent, you know, made him come to terms with that. But other than that, his character, very good in this film. Then we have his friend Grady, played by Robert Russler in this film, who, in the beginning, they obviously weren't friends. You know, that the guy fucking even tackles him and pantses him and shit like that. But they very much grow a bond. I mean, like, I thought it was going to be the stereotypical bully and victim, but you know, they kind of hang out once in a while and actually spend time with each other. So that's actually pretty cool. Other than that, like, his character is like any other typical guy, you know? I mean, like, he's always, like, blowing people off, he's cussing people out, making fun of people as he goes, but he's a well-rounded kind of guy, kind of character. And, I don't know, I just always liked Grady, and so when he meets his demise in this movie, it fucking sucks, because he's a good character, and, you know, I was starting to like him. So I was like, ah, man. That's how you know you grab onto a fucking character. You care for a character, and I cared about Grady a lot, and he was portrayed very well. So we also have the character of Lisa in this film, who is the love interest of Jesse. The actress, I can never remember her name, but holy shit, she looks like Meryl Streep. It's unfucking candy. But she does a very good job in this movie. I mean, she ends up taking the baton of being the final girl in this movie. I mean, like, quite literally, she ripped it away from fucking Jesse. He's like, no, it's supposed to be a final girl, not final guy. But she has this great chemistry with Jesse, and you can only get that with certain actors playing their parts very well, and they played their parts very well, and especially her, especially with the end. It's just everything about her character in this movie just made you want to root for her in the end, and she did a fine job in this film. Now we have our antagonist, of course, as we all know, Freddy Krueger, once again played by Robert Englund, except for one scene where they actually had a double just kind of come in and just be Freddy for a second, and they didn't like that actor, so they casted Robert Englund to do it. So the look of Freddy in this film is a lot different from the first one. You get to see his face a little bit more. He has more of a hooked nose like a witch. His eyes are kind of demonic in a way. And this is the first film where we finally see even the sleeves have the stripes on them. I mean, in the first film, it was stripeless sleeves all over his sweater. And now we finally have the sweater that has the sleeves that match the torso, right? Freddy in this movie, you get him in certain parts, and he does his job very well. But of course, it's the whole trying to possess Jesse's body and being able to still be Freddy himself is still good enough. It almost at times feels like this is almost unnecessary for Freddy to do. Like, why are you doing this? Kind of reason, like, just try and inhabit other kids' dreams or whatever. You don't need another person kind of coming in and just taking over his body. But nonetheless, Freddy Krueger in this movie does look good. He is more vocal in this film. I mean, the shit we see him in is fucking good. And there's not much else to say. I mean, like, he doesn't get that many kills in this film, but it's nice to also see him as the bus driver in the beginning of the film, where it's actually Robert Englund. So that's pretty cool. When it comes to the effects of this film, it wasn't the previous guy in the first film who did it. It was actually Kevin Yeager who did this film. This Kevin Yeager did this and Elm Street 3 before he ever did Chucky. So this is where he got his, his start, I guess you could say. A really big start. Of course, they didn't have really much for reference photos of the original Elm Street film, so that's where Kevin Yeager gave Freddy a little bit of a different look. Even to the point where we see Freddy ripping out of Jesse's body, and just like, that's an amazing fucking effect. Just how that was done. I know for 1985 it looks goofy, especially when you can tell, yeah, that's a puppet, but it still looks fucking good and convincing nonetheless. And for all the people who are wondering, well, in the movie, I mean, Freddy literally has blades coming out of his hand. That's because, as we all know as Elm Street fans, this is the movie where notoriously the Freddy glove was stolen from the prop truck. The glove went missing for many, many, many years until a private collector who was dead set on trying to find that glove finally located it and finally found the glove. But, just the notion of someone actually taking the one prop that they fucking needed for the film. And that's why I believe in the film when Freddy has the blades coming from his finger, it's because that's around the time they lost the glove. So they didn't have time to do anything else. But other than that, like, even the long tongue that he does with Jesse, what he does with the coach, fucking Coach Snyder, just bare ass whipping him in the fucking showers. Wow. But other than that, like, the effects are not bad for this film. It's just, we do get to see a lot better ones. And this film, the effects, it doesn't hold it back, but we do end up seeing better ones. When it comes to the gore and the kills of this film, Freddy basically gets two notable, kills of main characters in this film. And then we have that whole pool party scene where everyone's fucking awake, and Freddy just happened to pop out, right? And then he starts killing people in the pool party. If I have to say basically what was the most effective kill in this film, it's kind of a toss. I mean, maybe the bird, the parakeet that gets fucking killed, right? I mean, there's that. I don't know if that counts as a Freddy kill, but sure, why not? The gore and the kills in this film are not too bad, especially with that pool party where we get to see Freddy just slice people up and shit. And then we get that awesome scene where he, looks at the kids and says, you're all my children now. So that's not too bad, but when it comes to the gore and the kills, I don't know, I'd have to probably say they are kind of meh in this film. I mean, like, Grady's kill, he gets pushed up against the door and gets stabbed through the door, right? But it's the lead up to that, which is amazing. I mean, Grady just gets killed. Yeah, it's sad and everything, but it's like, you expected something really... It's not like Johnny Depp's death in that film, or Tina's death in the first film as well. It's like these kills are kind of meh. So the one thing that this movie is mainly known for is being very popular with the LGBTQ community. This movie is widely regarded as being the Top Gun of horror films, aka it's the gayest movie ever made. Some examples, I mean, like, Jesse literally has a sign on his door that says no girls allowed. There's the whole, morning boner thing that we had to see. He gets pantsed, where we see his ass. We get Coach Snyder gets bare-assed and toweled bare-assed in the fucking shower. We see a board game in the closet that says probe. I want to say that's a reference. But if there's any fucking references, Dom's Place, which is, the gay bar, where we see Bob Shea as the bartender. So that's cool. Yeah, when it comes to this movie, it is definitely, like, it's not trying to say that Jesse was a gay character, or Jesse and Grady are gay characters, or anything like that. I mean, we do have this line. I mean, I got nothing to say. I mean, I that's coincidence, I guess. I don't know. But it's just anything they were trying to do that did not make this movie look gay really amplified it. And of course, we also cannot go out without mentioning Jesse cleaning his room and dancing. Yeah, we can't. It's a cringe scene. I get uncomfortable every time I watch it. Like, even just recently watching it, I was like, oh, no, I don't like this. But other than that, I mean, like, when it comes to this movie, and the overtones of gay, I don't know if it puts it on that cult classic status or anything of that nature. It's just like, but like, when I was a kid, I didn't get the references. When I became a teenager, I kind of maybe saw one or two, but becoming an adult, it's like, oh shit, yeah, there's some metaphors right there, but it doesn't fucking hurt the film at all. At the end of the movie, Freddy is defeated by the power of love, which is a little bit lame, but we see Jesse board the bus, and there's Lisa and her other friend, which you'll notice I never even talked about her, because it's like, yeah, she's kind of not really important. But other than that, I mean, he gets on the bus, everything's fine, and that classic line, it's all over. Freddy fucking sticks his hand through the one chick, and they go barreling down the fucking desert again, like in the beginning of the movie. That's how the movie ends. But I don't know, the fact that they kind of just did the ending where they began the fucking film is kind of like okay, that's kind of cool, but it obviously really did set up a sequel this time too. So it was no surprise that this film, successful or not, was going to get another film. Final thoughts of this film is basically, like, I know a lot of people kind of don't put this film high above in their rankings or whatever, and some people kind of just disregard this, because you guys gotta remember, this movie, even though it made its money back, it didn't make nearly as much as the first film. And this film, every time when you reference the rest of the franchise and you talk about what are your favorites, number 2 usually is never on someone's list. So this film has that reputation. It has the obvious, gay reference reputation to it. The fact that this was Kevin Yeager's first film, Robert Englund coming back as Freddy, different characters that we don't see in the franchise ever again. But other than that, after rewatching this film, it doesn't hurt the film at all with the overtones and the characters. The only thing that does hurt this film is the kills and the gore. The nightmare sequences are imaginative and good. That's fine. But it just feels like if you're going to replace Nancy, you shouldn't have done it in the second fucking film. And having a male lead be your final girl for a majority of the film, it could work, but as a final girl kind of quote unquote, it doesn't work. That's why I guess Lisa ends up coming into it after. But nonetheless, even though there are those flaws, the movie is still rewatchable when you have the time to watch it. I mean, it still holds up to this day. So, for my rating, I'm going to give A Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge, a 6.5 out of 10. So tell me, guys, what did you guys think of Nightmare on Elm Street 2, Freddy's Revenge? Let me know in the comments down below. If you liked the video, make sure you also hit the thumbs up and subscribe for more content. And don't forget to hit that bell notification so you get notified about all the other videos coming out on the channel, especially when it comes to the Elm Street franchise. Anyways, that's it for me. This has been the Ginger Snap Series Month of Horror-WEEN. I'm your host, Steven Harrold. I will talk to you guys later. And whatever you do, don't fall asleep.